Hi, I'm Randy, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is dedicated to the construction and development of the Lake Erie and North Shore Railroad. And I'll tell you what, if you've ever wondered, does a backdrop make a difference to your railroad, you need to watch this video. We're going to go through all of the setup that's necessary to put a backdrop up, show you how to plan the backdrop, and then we'll see how the backdrop actually looks when it's up. Enjoy the picture showcase at the end, which will demonstrate before and after pictures. And I think you'll see the benefit of a backdrop on your model railroad. But before that, let's hear that famous theme song, Railroad Soul.
Across the prairies to the sea, they laid the iron for the rails and we ride. They shared their lives, their hearts and their pride. They had railway soul.
Hi, and welcome back. Just a little addition to the backdrop segment. I'm just going to pan to show you where the backdrop is going to go. And you'll see that we have those windows recessed. We have the pillars we have to deal with, a couple straight walls here, and we got to build up a support at the back, another pillar, and then it comes to the end there. So what I did was I went on to various websites looking for different types of backdrops, and I just swing you over here. Went on to Trackside Scenery, and what I noticed on the Trackside Scenery is that they have, let me just zoom into this for you. So there's the website, Trackside Scenery, www.tracksidescenery.com. And Joey over there is really good guy, and a lot of helpful hints. But what they do is if you go on the website and you find something that interests you, you can click on it, and then they print off these sheets. And these sheets, well, you can print off these PDF sheets, and they have a picture of the backdrop, and they have it in O gauge and HO gauge and N gauge. And so what you can do, which I think is a really good idea, is that you can, first of all, join them together. So you take this page, and then you cut out the areas that are the section, for instance, that you want. So this is the HO gauge, and then you can mix and match these together to see if they match up okay. Now, one of the things that I didn't realize in the beginning is that there's a variety of different changes on these. So there's a sky change, so you can get sky with clouds, or you can just get the blue sky, and then you can get the sort of mountains in the back. Or you can get the trees in the back. And so when I first started, I didn't notice, or I didn't realize that these tend to not match up. So if we look at this one, you'll see if I put that real close, see, that doesn't match. So that's not going to be a good look on your scenery. Now look, if you don't care about that and you just want the scenery up, that's fine. You can go ahead and do that. But I wanted it to sort of match up. So even this one, if we look at it closely, see that even though it has trees there, this has trees, it doesn't match up. So you have to make sure that when you're doing these, you match them up. Now the other thing that you can do, which is what I did, which I am really happy I did, I actually built a little model, just took it down to scale, built a model of where that backdrop is going to go, and you can see it laid on the track plan there. Now it's not exact, and you know, it's not a perfect thing, but it only took, I don't know, 45 minutes or so to cut this cardboard out, shape it up, get it down to scale. And then what I did was I took the little sheets of paper at the HO scale and I laid them out around the layout to finally get what I wanted to, the final layout, just give me an idea of how that backdrop's going to look. So I went and did this, and so if I just sort of screen in or scan in a little bit, maybe I can do it like this. There we go. You can see, look, it's not perfect by any means, but it gave me a pretty good idea of how many sheets I needed and how they're going to fit together, which ones I want to put in. Okay, because I wanted to have a town over here. I wanted to have a yard here, obviously, so I wanted to have some yard type background there. Here's my engine factory. So this is the GM factory in London, and then over here along this wall I have a few different small cities that are going to be in this area. And then on the other side, this is the flip out side, and I know that there's going to be a flip out side. You see I have clouds on this side. Okay, so this is the section here. Get my pencil in there maybe. I don't know why I can't get this in there. So this section here is going to be the section that flips up, because I won't be able to access this track here because this is sitting like this. So you see the track comes out and around, but I can't get at this track because of the backdrop here. So this section, hopefully I can do this, is going to, from here to about here, is going to flip up like this, so that if I have to get at this track, I can just unclip this and flip it up. So anyway, that's just a little bit of what I did, just to get an idea of what this backdrop's going to look like. I am really glad I did it, because what I originally thought would be the type of backdrop I wanted and the sections I wanted to line up, it didn't work. So I went back, redid, like, and the beauty of this is if you don't like it, you can just put the new ones over top. So like some of these were printed on a different printer, so the color in the background looks a little off, but these are all from the same series of the Trackside Scenery. And you'll see here, it'll say BSV 11 Urban, so the Blue Sky Valley series. So all of these are the Blue Sky series, Blue Sky Valley series. And when you go on the website, you'll see there's a whole wide selection of different types of backdrops that you can use. Now, I ordered the ones with the adhesive already on it, because I don't know about you, but when I try to spray adhesive and try to glue stuff, there's bumps and lumps, and so I just figured I'm going to pay the extra, I'm going to get the adhesive on there, and then hopefully when we go to put it up, we don't have any major issues. But now I got to get the masonite up, and man, that's going to be a big job. I've got to go into concrete and mount this masonite. So time to get to work and get that up. But I'm hope this gave some of you some tips on maybe how to first check out what backdrop you want. It's just me, I needed to see it, so I did this little semi scale contraption just so that I could have a look at kind of what it's going to look like. And again, for the time that was invested in this, I think it was a really good idea for me, because what I would have ordered first wasn't, when it got here, it would have been all wrong, and I would have been set back in time and money. So it just took a little bit of extra time and did this little sort of semi-scale model, and man, I think it saved me a lot of time and money by doing it. Okay, so that's the update. Remember, it's Trackside Scenery, and I dealt with Joey. He's a really good guy. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll see how it goes. I'll update you when I get the masonite up and when my backdrop arrives. Okay, everybody stay safe. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Okay, so I got the first piece of masonite in, and I'm experimenting with some stuff here because this wall is really I don't know, it's like sandy almost, so I didn't know if the glue would hold there. So I've put some screws in. That was fun. I had to drill into the cement, then match the holes up and mark the wrong hole, so I have an extra hole there, but I'll fill that in. And the other, so did have to come out a little bit from the edge, mount that base in there. But I think the main thing is I got this level, so that's good. So the first piece is in, it's level. Now the other issues are these cement walls are not straight at all. They're not level at all, and you try to work with this, it's really challenging. So anyway, the first piece is up. I've glued that top piece. Like I said, I don't know if the glue would hold or not, so I've let this dry. It seems to be really tight on there, so I think the glue did work. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and lay some more of this masonite. I decided to go straight onto the concrete, and then of course coming up, we got this tricky spot here, which I think I've got an idea that might work. So once I have this all in place, I'll update you. Okay, so getting the masonite up for the backdrop to go on. Talk to you soon. Well, here we are. I have, as you can see, started getting the masonite up for the backdrop. Now, that's the height of the backdrop. So the masonite is the height of the backdrop. You see the wall goes up above that. So I think I'm just gonna paint that the same color as the fascia. Now you remember this one right here, I wanted to have removable or on hinges so that I could get it up if I had to sort of get at the track back there. So what I did was I just back here, I noticed that these would just slide in between the wood there and it would hold snug. So I've just put spacers here that the masonite can sit on so it doesn't go down any lower. And then if I want to, I can just pull that out. Other than that little bracket, I put that bracket there so that the top wouldn't move and rip the backdrop. So that is all I have to take out, and then I can lift that out. I still have to sand the screw holes on the masonite. And then over here, remember this is that problem area where the window dips in. So I was going to have to come up with a solution for that. And then this cord here, I'm going to have to rearrange that cord. I'm going to do that in the daylight, obviously, because if it's dark and I have to shut that light off, it's not going to be good. So I had this issue here now. This presented an interesting problem, and that is right there. You see that? That clearance is very, very small. So I had to notch this board out so I could push it back. And then I realized that it would not match up with the brick. So you'll see that there is a little bit of an angle on that so that it will clear that brick. So I'm going to have to put the top part on matching that angle. And I just took a couple of these little angles, and you can see I just put them in the vise and I bent them to the same amount. So I used 4 of them. So there's 2 on that one. There's going to be 2 on the top. And hopefully well, I know the masonite is going to bend around that corner pretty easily, and hopefully you won't notice that bend too much in the backdrop. Okay, so let me get back to work. Oh, I'm just showing you how I did this. So this, I put flush with this. So the masonite is going to come all the way out on both sides. I haven't mounted the other side yet. And I'm going to put it straight on that brick. That's because this, I don't have any clearance there either. So as you can see, this is the good, bad, and the ugly, and I didn't think about the backdrop so much when I put this track down. Now I've also had to cut these tracks, which that's not a big deal. I mean, I knew I was going to have to cut those anyway, so I just trimmed those off. So far, it's looking like might have a solution. We'll see. I'll get back to you when I get this difficult part up, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, back for a quick update. I've started to get some of the masonite in place. This has all been sanded and screw holes filled. Now you'll notice here there's still screws in the masonite. Now I've learned a tip, and this was from M. Pertel. I don't know how you say his name, but he's an amazing guy. But basically you glue the masonite down, you screw it in, and then you can remove the screws later. So this up top, I don't know if you can see this. Let me zoom in here. Let's see that these screws have been removed after the glue has dried, and then I just have to sand those and fill them in. You won't even know that there has been screw holes in there. Okay, so, and this holds pretty tight. It's not going anywhere. So what I'll do is once the glue dries on this, I'll take the screws out. Now, if some of the screws have been buried, so you can sometimes get lucky and a screw will go in deep enough that you can just sand that off, and then you'll be able to put some speckle over top of it or some filler over top of it, and you won't even see it. Now, obviously, the background masonite should have gone up prior to me laying track, because what happens is you have to work, and you see the mess you make is just incredible in here, and that all has to be cleaned up and vacuumed and everything else. And then you have to work over the track, okay, which is never a good idea. But as I've said before in this series, I made every mistake there is, and I continue to make mistakes. And The beauty of this hobby is that you can correct most of them pretty good, and so whatever whenever you screw up, then you just can fix it. It takes more time. Maybe you have to take a bit more care, but you can fix it. Okay, so we're moving ahead with getting this scenery backdrop up. Still waiting for the scenery prints to arrive, but hopefully I'll have this backdrop up before they arrive, and then I'll be able to put it right up, and then you'll be able to see. Now this is the trouble area here, and I think it's gonna look okay. I made one mistake here where the wall was not level, so I tried to compensate for it, but I overcompensated. But I'm just going to fill that in with some speckle filler stuff, and I don't think you're going to see the difference. But the main thing is where the problem was, the backdrop's going to go all the way up to there, but we had this shelf sort of here where the window was. So what I've done is I've just painted that pretty much the same color as the fascia, and I don't think you're going to see it too much. And then I'm going to paint the above area the same color as the fascia. And you'll also notice that I've moved the I've moved the light wire that used to be here and rerouted that up there. I'm using lights that have receptacles that you can plug into a receptacle in the end. That way we don't have to have electricians come and rewire the whole thing. So look, if I'd have thought about this and done it the right way, I would have had an electrician come in and wire the lights in, but I didn't do that, so it is what it is, and we'll have to work around it for now. Sometime in the future, might have the electrician come and wire these in, but right now, that's how it is. So you'll remember I showed you one of the concerns I had was the clearance that we had here. I just want to show that by chipping out this board, the baseboard here, chipping it out so it would fit farther back on the window, created enough clearance here for these cars to go through. And I'm just going to try and get right in there. So you can see this clearance is just enough. Okay, so that's another problem that I had that's apparently solved. I'll just give you another tip when laying this masonite. What I found anyway, this is what I do, and I'm sure there's many people out there who are carpenters or much more skilled in woodworking than I am, have a different way to do this. But what I do is I put the masonite up, and then I drill a hole through the masonite, and just so that the drill bit will touch the cement on the other side and mark where that screw is. And then I just continue to do that at each of the screw holes, and then remove the masonite off, and then I've got a mark on the cement where to put my where to drill the hole first of all, and then to put in the little fillers that you can use to screw the screws into. Now, you could, I suppose, just do it without screwing it in and just put it up with the glue, but I was a little hesitant to do that because I didn't know how well the glue was going to hold on that sort of, you can see here, it's a really sort of porous cement that I'm dealing with here. It's more of a render, I think, over top of the cement, and it's really grainy, so I was afraid that if I just put it right on the wall, it wasn't going to hold. But I think now, once it's been screwed in and I've taken the screws out, it's holding pretty good. Okay, so that's just a tip. Now remember, when you drill in and you touch the cement, you're gonna have to sacrifice a drill bit or two because it will dull the drill bits. And after doing 7 or 8 holes, you may have to replace the drill bit. Okay, so I just went and bought a whole pile of cheap drill bits, and so I don't really mind doing that. It's just that it's the only way I know to make sure that the holes line up when you're trying to go into cement. And all I use is these little inserts. So you drill the hole and then you insert this in, and then the screw goes in there. So it's, you know, you want to try and line them up as best you can. And that's one of the only ways I've found to line them up. Now I know this is more about how to put up the masonite than it is about trains, but it's all part of it. The backdrop, I didn't really put enough consideration when I first put up the benchwork, and all of this stuff should have been done, you know, when I was putting up the benchwork, and then I wouldn't be having the challenges that I have now. Some of the challenges I would have had anyway, because this window is not changing. Now I'll just show you the brace work. So the brace work that's up behind the masonite, especially on these pillars that are coming out. So you see here, I'm going to put this one here, and then we'll continue on laying. Now you'll see this is kind of the easy part, because now over here I'm actually going to have to build some kind of a wall or something to hold the backdrop all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to continue. I got more wires to move. that's a joy. Anyway, to move these wires, I have especially ones that like this one here. I found that I put the wire down before I built the bench top, so when I went to pull it up, the plug wouldn't come through the hole, so I had to then cut the plug off and then reattach it over there. So again, a lot of this stuff probably could have been avoided if I had thought about it, but I didn't. And so we just, if you're just starting out and you're putting up your bench work and you're putting in, you know, different types of wires and things like that, extension cords, remember to think ahead. If you ever have to move them, you want to somehow keep it so that the cords can fit through the holes, or you're going to have to cut the cords and rewire them like I did. It's no big deal. It just takes a little time. That's all. You always got to make sure that the plug is unplugged before you cut the wire, so you don't get a shock. But that's all stuff that everyone hopefully should know already. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll come back and update you once I tackle the hard stuff. Okay. So this has all been sanded down now. This is all nice and smooth, no problem. There are a few areas now where I have to go through, take the screws out, sand it down, but you'll see, and I bet you didn't even notice last time, but there is a curve there. So I had to put a slight curve in that masonite right here, okay, to get around that window and the bricks not being even. Okay, there's my little sanding block that I use. Now, there is the work that has been finished. So this is going to be the GM engine yard, or engine factory. And then here I decided to curve the backdrop for a number of reasons, but one, I think it's going to look better, and two, I can reach that now from my access hole. Okay, so here is the progress that's been made. Looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it so far. A lot of sanding has to be done, a lot of filling of the holes, things like that. Now I'm just gonna walk around, and I'm just bracing. There's a couple of braces there because I've glued that. I did an experiment there and I glued that. I didn't screw it just to see what would happen. So now I'm just going to walk around, and you see at the back now, you'll see this is the bracing that was done. Now this is going to be the second sort of scene across the back where the tracks go into the mountain there. And you'll see here's where the masonite is curved. But this here back to there is going to be, let's see if we can bring this back a bit. This is just going to be a flat piece of masonite. I'll update you on that. Now coming around here, this is going to be interesting. So I think I'm going to run the masonite from here across the track. I'm going to leave like a, I don't know, some kind of opening here. And I'm thinking of putting like a car bridge or something across here to sort of hide where the track comes in from the back scenery, or the back scene. So far so good. It's become apparent once I put this backdrop up that I'm going to need more light. So I'm going to have to put up some more lights. But all in all, considering the challenges that we faced, the engineering challenges that we faced, I think so far it might work. And I was worried about that spot, but I'm thinking it might work out pretty good now because I've just painted the underside. I'm going to paint that area up here. Okay, the same color as here. So it'll be like a, I don't know, a valance or something like that. I don't know what the proper word is, but here you can see I painted that roughly the same color. And then once we put that backdrop on, I think it's going to work. Now you can see I've got this whole section done now. A little area here, and I hope I have enough. I've tried to leave enough clearance for even the high intermodal cars and maybe the car carriers. I just wanted to show you around here. I'm just ready. There's the bracing that's been put up. Now this will have some masonite on this side for the backdrop on this side. But I just wanted to mention, because I forgot to mention to you before, about when you curve this masonite. So here you see this masonite has been curved. Okay. So what you do is you use this product called Windex. And you have to make sure that it's the Windex with the ammonia D in it. And then you spray it on the area. See if I can just bring this out a bit. So you spray it all along the area, okay, that you want to bend on the board. And you soak it really good all on the back part. So it's the part that is like this, not the smooth part, but the rough part. And you soak this with the Windex. And then you leave it for about 20 minutes, and then you come back and you can just bend that masonite into the relative, within reason, within the curve that you want. This one, what I do is when I start the curve, I clamp it. So I push it in, clamp one end where I want it to be, and then I push it in, and then I clamp, and then I get big clamps, and right here where the big space is, I clamp from here onto this board, and then I just pull, and it'll just bend that board right in where you want it. Okay, so I thought I'd give you that little tip of how I do it anyway. Just before I put this next area on, so that you can see how
how that bend is maintained. And once it's dry, so once this masonite dries, it just stays like that. It's really good stuff for doing curves like this. Okay, so I'm going to get to work, get this last little bit done, then we'll show you how it looks. Backdrop masonite is now up. All of the screws have been removed, and it's been puttied up. All the cracks have been filled. I just have to do the final sanding. I'll take you around the back here. Okay, so all this masonite's up. A lot of sanding to do now. So I just do the final sanding, wipe down the board to get all the dust off it, and she will be ready for the miraculous backdrop, which hasn't come in yet, but I am still waiting for it. And so I will update you when I have finished the sanding. And then I'm gonna also, up here, I'm gonna put a color that the same as the fascia up here, all the way along, and maybe the trim around there, the same as the fascia. So Ollie will update you when that's done. It's time to get to work. Masonite in, all of the putty filler sanded, and I've got the top painted to match the baseboard down here. It's looking pretty good. So we are, with the exception of me putting in some more lights now, because this has made it a bit darker in here and there's a few shadows, but put in more lights, and then we are ready for the backdrop, which I'm waiting for. Hasn't arrived yet. And I just wanted to make note that you can hardly see the wires now, unless you really look for them. They have been painted to match the backdrop. So things are coming together. I'm pretty happy with how it's gone. We'll see what it looks like when the backdrop gets put up. I'll just take you around the other side. You can see here, I finished this end to match the backdrop. That came up pretty good, so I was pretty happy with that. So this is the back side. I just painted, I added that little thing on the end there just because it didn't look finished before, so I put that on, but I've just painted it to match the fascia because I don't think I calculated that in the backdrop, but we'll see how much we have left. But so it's been a lot of work putting this up. I wouldn't really want to do it again, but learned a lot doing it. And I think it looks pretty good. Look, there's a little bit of paint on the fascia because I wanted to bring it down a little bit just in case the backdrop, we had to trim it or something. So anyway, that's it. Next update will be when the backdrop arrives, and we'll show you what we get and we'll set it all out and then take you through how we put it up. Okay, so see you soon. Hope you come back and watch the rest. Bye-bye. Okay, quick update on the backdrop situation. So as you can see, I have received the backdrop, and when it came, it was rolled up with sheets between the different sections of backdrop. Backdrop looks really good. One little tiny complication, and that is the size of the backdrop is 30 inches, and I thought it was 36 inches. So my masonite backing is 36 inches high, and my actual backdrop is only 30. So I'm going to have to go
and paint the top 6 inches of the masonite, probably the same color as the baseboard. And hopefully I'll be getting this up once that paint dries. So we'll be back with an update as things progress. Okay, see you soon. So the backdrop is up. I'll just give you a quick panoramic view from a couple different areas. Now look, it's not perfect by any means, but I am really pleased with how it's come out. I'll just keep panning around a little bit so you can get different angles. Okay, so a few tips that we learned along the way. First thing, always use a level to mark the level at the top of the backboard, or the top of the whatever material you're using, because the bottom really doesn't matter that much. You can trim it off, but the top does matter because that's what people see. And you can see there's where the track comes through. Just go around the other side. You see we have a different scene over here. It's mountains, cloudy skies a little bit. A little bit of industry here. And as I said, I've got to add a little bit on the end. I just didn't measure appropriately, so going around these corners of these bricks was difficult to measure. So here's the track and through the scenery. Okay, so all in all, pretty happy with how it's turned out. There's a long view. Changed things up a little bit from how I originally had it in the plan, but all in all, I'm really happy with how this has turned out. And so again, tips: make sure you do the level on the top. Also, when you can, do not start on a corner. Start in, so for instance, if you were doing this beam or this area here, start with this part. So make sure you have enough to get back in to where you have to go, but start here, make sure this is all fitting right, get this down, and then move the other stuff on. Now we had the self-adhesive paper here. Now I'm going to be honest with you. This is the paper, and this is a little piece that's left, and then you just peel this back off, and the sticky stuff is there. Now this is pretty substantial paper. It's like a photo mat type paper. It's beautiful work. I mean, the detail on these is amazing. But I mean, you got the, little meters and stuff, pipes going in, and the doors are excellent. Got clocks and windows, fire escapes, all that stuff is there. Very good stuff. The detail in the buildings is amazing. But this sticky stuff, once you peel off the back and you stick it, it's stuck. And there's very little wiggle room. And I'll tell you, it was a challenge to get this stuff up and get it up, as well as we got it up. This is the area I was worried about with that overhang. I think it's come out excellent. Okay, this is just my DC bus that I'm going to be laying very soon, because I have to have some straight DC under the table, or under the layout for running lights and LEDs and things, because they say you shouldn't use the DCC amplifiers to run your straight DC stuff. Okay, so this is the end result. Again, took about 2 days to put this up, and it was a bit nerve-wracking at times. You stick something down and go, oh my God, it's not in the right spot. And sometimes you get a few wrinkles that you have to sort of back work and work out, especially when you're working with the type of foundation that I am, which is not level. I mean, these brick walls are definitely not plumb. And when you try to stick photographic paper to it, it is not easy. Let's put it that way. And you will run into some challenges along the way. You just go very calm, very slowly, take your time, and in the end, it's all going to work out very nice. So, very pleased. And this is Joey at Trackside Scenery, where I got this. And very, very pleased with everything and result. So, we'll move on now that the backdrop's up, and move on to some new stuff.